It's early in the morning and I have a new litter. So it's cold. I got a little bit of blood, which is normal. Don't get upset if there's a lot of blood. That's when you know you got a problem, but a little bit is normal. So she built at the back of the nest. You're going to see movement just like that. Hopefully no kits on the ground, and we're going to see what we've got in here. It's cold, so I'm going to try to do this pretty fast. Those are the babies. These little black striped are harlequin. These little ones that look all pink like this are probably white. It looks like 2 white, 2 harlequin. So she had 6. And Scarlet never has as big as litters as Cindy. That's another Harley. Oh, so is that one. So 4 harlequin. Sorry. And there we go. So 6 healthy kits, all in their nest. They could probably use a little bit more fur, but
make the most of every day. Make the most of what God gave with good, simple living.
So we have a sad update for 5 weeks. We went and checked on the rabbits, and this one was just back behind the nest box. So by the look of its face, it got smashed. So I thought maybe it was a dietary thing. Sometimes when the rabbits start to eat around 4 or 5 weeks, they will get bloat. But just because they're not digesting the food or they eat too much of something. But that is not what appears to have happened in this case, and I've actually never lost one at, to bloat, because we're pretty careful with what we put in there. Just nothing but hay and pellets when they're little, guys. But so this one doesn't have any signs of bloat, but what it does have is broken ribs. So the ribs feel fine on this underside, but right here they're all crushed in. So it appears that he got trampled, and I don't know if it was Mom jumping off the box, because sometimes they will go back behind the box, and if she jumps off it, it could have scooted back and squished him, or he could have got trampled by his own litter mates. He's the smallest one. He was our runt. Or she may have jumped down off the box or something and smashed him. So anyway, he got trampled and smashed, so that's really unfortunate. At this stage, there's not a lot you can do with him, so we're probably just going to bury him and compost him. But if you have a dog that eats raw meat, you could always just toss him to the dog. But our dog doesn't eat raw meat. So we're just going to compost him down. Sucks to have lost one. So we are down to 7. So like I stated before, our rabbits now are 5 weeks old. We are unfortunately down to 7. Hey guys, I'm still amazed that they all came out as black and red fawns, just like Mama. It's just crazy to me. She normally only has harlequins and maybe 1 fawn, so it's funny that the entire litter of 9 was born that way. So something, if you remember, or if you want to go back and look at the day they were born, the first day we lost one right away, right after birth, within half an hour. So something must have been wrong with it, or it got damaged during delivery. And then today we found one smashed. Its ribs were broken, and I'm guessing Mom jumped on him, or maybe the whole litter piled on him. He was the smallest one, and he got smashed by either his litter mates or, I wouldn't think her. She's a very careful, and she's never, I don't know, we've never actually lost a baby this old. We've never lost a baby that was more than 2 days old. So that was a first for us, and pretty disappointing. But what we're doing now at 5 weeks old is we are going to start getting them used to grass, because in 2 weeks they are going to be moved to our lawn tractor. So I'm going to give them a small amount of fresh grass. The reason I'm doing fresh grass, they've already been exposed to Timothy hay. We always give Timothy hay starting around 3 weeks. They're able to eat that, and a lot of times it's their nesting material. But I need to get their tummies prepared for the lawn tractor. So that's just a tiny little pile. Mama's probably going to eat half of that, and then each of the 7 are probably just going to get maybe a small portion, tablespoon or so of that. So it's important to get their digestive systems going. I'm going to give this to them today, and I'll probably give them equal amounts every single day and start to slowly increase that amount until they're in the lawn tractor. Because once they're in the lawn tractor, they are on pasture and they can eat as much grass as they want. Something else I want to talk about today is what a rabbit, whether it's a pet rabbit or a meat rabbit, cannot eat, and what foods we recommend that they do eat. Foods that I recommend you never feed your rabbit is going to be cereal or corn-based foods. Sometimes people think that other animal feed is acceptable for rabbits, and it will include cracked corn and things like that that you might feed to a chicken or to a pig, and that is not something natural for the rabbit's digestive system. Do not feed anything that is corn or grain-based because it's not something they would eat normally. It's not something that their digestive system can process, and it's going to cause tummy issues and tooth decay. Something else never to feed your rabbit is going to be raw rhubarb. We have a neighbor that always says, you want rhubarb for your rabbits? And we used to give it to our chickens, but no, not to the rabbits, because it actually has an enzyme that is poisonous when raw to a rabbit, and it can cause them to die within a day of eating it. So definitely avoid the rhubarb. Iceberg lettuce is another no-no. It is mostly water-based. It has forgot what chemical compound it has in it, but it can be toxic to your rabbit, but in very large amounts, like if you were to give them a whole bag of iceberg. So avoid that. And then also it's just water-based. It kind of turns to a sludge in their tummy. It doesn't have any fiber in it, so it's hard for them to process. If you're going to be giving lettuce, go with a dark leafy grain, high fiber. Spinach is a good option, and kale is a good option. Chard is not something that you want to give them a lot of. Every once in a while I'll throw them a leaf, but never more than that, because that's just another one that actually includes that same enzyme, so you want to be really careful with Swiss chard as well. So I would stick to spinach. Romaine lettuce is okay, and kale is a really good one. Potatoes are another thing you want to avoid. Avoid potatoes. If they're in the ground in nature, they're not something that a rabbit's going to eat. And that goes with any root vegetable. So people assume rabbits eat carrots. Carrots are a fun treat because I think it's more of like a cartoon thing, but you have to really think about nature. When you think about what you should feed your rabbit, think about what they would eat in nature. Never are they going to eat a carrot or a potato or a beet in nature, because how are they going to get it out of the ground, right? What carrots, the whole carrot myth I don't really understand. They're a high sugar food and they're a fun little treat for rabbits, but definitely not a staple in their diet. What a rabbit would eat is going to be the tops of the carrots. So today I'm going to let some of our adult rabbits have some tiny little baby carrots because it's just a treat. But what we're focusing on is the top. And I would never give carrots or any kind of fruit to any rabbit this small. Wait until they are full grown before you ever offer a treat. Cauliflower and broccoli is another thing you should never feed them. They are very gassy vegetables. They're not something they're probably going to eat naturally out of your garden. They may nibble on the leaves. But if you put cauliflower and broccoli in their cage and they don't have other things, they're going to eat it, and it can cause bloat, and it would definitely be dangerous for small rabbits for sure. It could kill them. Some of to me it's like, duh, don't eat these things, but meat, candy, chocolate. These are not things that a rabbit's digestive system can process. Please do not feed these to your rabbits. If you put M&Ms or something around the bunny, they're going to eat them, so just be really careful with that, especially if you have free-range rabbits. Some people just let them roam around their house, and that can make them really sick, just like chocolate can make a dog sick. And then the last thing I want to bring up is nuts and anything with peanut butter. Peanut butter and most nuts, hey buddy, are a very high-fat food and not a high-fiber food. So rabbits aren't really designed to process fats, and they need fiber to pass food through their system. So avoid anything with nuts or peanut butter, like peanut butter flavored snacks, really popular for squirrels and birds, and I think even guinea pigs and some hamsters and things like that, but don't give them to your bunnies. So let's talk about foods that you can feed your rabbit. So these are adult rabbits. They're going to be getting some kale this morning. I'm not giving the baby rabbits kale. not yet, but eventually they will be able to have that. And then I'm going to be giving them, see these tiny little slivers of carrots? That's about equal to a half a big carrot. That's about all your rabbit should have. If you're going to be giving them apples or treats or something like that, just a few slivers, not an entire apple. But this green, this is what they would eat in nature. They would eat this green down to the soil, but they're not going to eat the carrot in nature. So kind of rule of thumb is think about, if you were a rabbit and you were walking around a garden, what would be accessible to you and what would you eat? And so it's not going to be roots. It's not going to be hanging fruit. A lot of people think apples and pears and things like that. They wouldn't normally eat something like that. So that's kind of a good rule of thumb. So another thing to think about is that rabbits naturally are grazers and foragers. So they get bored really easily, especially if they're in a hutch. And so we like to put them out in the tractor every day and give them a few hours to graze. That's really important. So something that you should make sure is once I give them all their fresh greens and then I give them their Timothy, they should have unlimited Timothy and they should have it all day long, because a rabbit naturally would spend their waking hours just grazing and foraging and eating grass. So pellets are really good because the pellets make sure, this is his little pellet box, the pellets make sure that they get the proper amount of vitamins and minerals. That's all measured out, but they're also pretty fattening, so don't give unlimited pellets. Measure out your pellets. They should have a half a cup to a cup a day, depending on if they're nursing or, you know, just for this guy, he's a big fat male. He's kind of overweight. He gets a half a cup of pellets a day because he's pretty sedentary, and then he gets unlimited Timothy hay, and then he gets his morning vegetables, which is what he's eating right now. So other things that rabbits really love, and you don't have to limit too much, is going to be fresh herbs, rosemary, cilantro, parsley. If you have a garden and a rabbit gets in there, I guarantee they're going to go for your herbs first. They absolutely love herbs and they're really good for them. So you can feed them herbs, fresh vegetables, things like kale. See, right now he's got carrots in there and he's eating the greens first. It's actually what they prefer. And he loves the stalks of kale. The big stalk like that, the stem, that's what he's eating actually. And stuff like that, the grazing is what keeps their teeth from needing to be trimmed or cut or anything like that. They will naturally graze down their own teeth just by chewing on hay and vegetables. So another good thing. Peas are something they can eat. A few slivers of green peppers they really enjoy. So general rule of thumb, think about, I'm going to close this and give everyone else their treats. Think about what they would eat in nature. Think about what they wouldn't have access to in nature. And then follow those rules. Try not to disturb her. She's my grumpy doe. This is devil doe right here. She's got a litter in there that she just had this morning, which I showed you. And these guys, I think I'm going to breed these guys tomorrow. Not together. For some reason, they don't breed together. I think because they're litter mates, but I need to get them separated and I need to get her bred because she is 6 months old. So in closing, that's what I just wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about what to avoid with feeding your rabbits, give you an update on our little guys in here, and what to feed your rabbits. So in summary, always make sure that they have Timothy hay. That is the most important staple in their diet. Measured out pellets to make sure they get the vitamins and minerals that they need, especially if you're raising for meat. This is going to put the weight on them. The Timothy hay is going to keep their bellies happy, keep their teeth healthy. And then just some fresh greens, some fresh herbs, and your rabbit should be in good shape. Very limited on the treats. If you're doing grow outs, I wouldn't give them any treats at all. Just raise them on pasture. But before you put them on pasture, make sure that you acclimate them to that grass. Don't just put them on pasture straight from their hutch. If all they've had is dry Timothy and pellets, and then you put them on unlimited pasture, you could end up with some bloat and some belly issues. If you do happen to get a rabbit that gets bloat, you can try some infant gas drops. But once they start bloating, it is really hard, and that's an awful way to go. So please be careful with what you're feeding your rabbits and just use a little bit of common sense. We will see you guys next time.